A journey of 1,000 miles begins with a single step. Dreams don't just belong to the fortunate. They don't belong to the lucky or the few. Dreams belong to those who dare to believe, those who choose to act when it would be easier to stay still. You see, most people don't fail because they lack talent or ambition. They fail because they never take that first step. Maybe you felt it, that gap between where you are and where you want to be. You wake up with ideas, visions, even a flicker of hope. But somehow, the day passes without a single action in the direction of your dream. Life gets in the way. Fear whispers too loudly, and someday becomes your comfort zone. But what if I told you that the life you want is closer than you think? That the gap is not a mile wide, it's just one step. That everything you've ever dreamed of is waiting for you on the other side of action. You don't need a full plan today. You don't need a perfect strategy. What you need is a decision, a moment of courage, a spark that lights the fire. Today I'm going to show you how to close that gap, how to stop waiting and start moving. Stay with me for the next few minutes as I guide you through the mindset, the principles, and the habits that will help you finally focus on your dreams and take that first powerful step. Let's dive in. Number 1, the power of one step. Every dream you've ever had, no matter how big or small, begins with just one step. Not a giant leap, not a perfect plan, just one single deliberate action in the direction of what you truly want. And yet, this is where most people hesitate, right at the starting line. Why? Because that first step feels too simple to be powerful and too risky to feel safe. But let me tell you something important. One step can change your life. We often think transformation has to be dramatic, that it needs to come with fireworks or applause. But the truth is, progress is usually quiet. It's a decision made in the stillness of your mind. It's waking up tomorrow and saying, today, I move. And that move, no matter how small, creates momentum. Let me introduce you to Jasmine Carter, a regular woman working long hours at a job that drained her energy. She didn't have time for change. At least, that's what she thought. But one morning, she decided to take a 10-minute walk before work. No pressure, no end goal, just one step toward a healthier, more peaceful life. She did it again the next day, and the next. What started as 10 minutes turned into 20, then 30. Over time, Jasmine began feeling better, sleeping deeper, thinking clearer. 2 years later, she completed her first half marathon. And today, she coaches women in her community on fitness, mindset, and daily growth. How did it start? Not with a gym membership, not with a dramatic life change, but with one step. You see, the first step isn't just physical, it's symbolic. It says, I believe something better is possible for me. That step, no matter how small, breaks the spell of stagnation. It tells your body and your mind, we're no longer standing still, we're moving forward. And here's the beautiful part. Once you take that first step, the next one gets easier. And the one after that, easier still. Momentum begins to build. Confidence begins to grow. And before you know it, you've walked away from who you were and closer to who you're meant to become. But none of it happens until you begin. So if you've been waiting for a sign, this is it. If you've been thinking, one day I'll start, let me remind you, one day is not a day of the week. You don't need more time. You need one moment of courage, one decision, one step. And when you take that step, celebrate it. You've done something powerful, something brave. You've made a declaration. I'm not stuck. I'm not done. I'm moving. Your dream isn't waiting for you to be perfect. It's waiting for you to begin. So the question now is simple. What's your first step? Number 2, start before you're ready. One of the greatest myths that holds people back from pursuing their dreams is the idea of the perfect moment. We wait for the right time, the right mood, the right financial situation, the right alignment of the stars, and in doing so, we stall our own progress. We convince ourselves that waiting is wise, that it's responsible, even strategic. But the truth is, most people don't need more time. They need more courage, because waiting for the perfect moment is often just a clever disguise for fear. Let's be honest. There is no perfect time. There's only time. And what you do with it is what makes the difference. The dream doesn't become real when conditions are ideal. It becomes real when you decide to start, ready or not. Action is the only thing that transforms intentions into momentum. Every successful person you admire didn't begin their journey fully prepared. They began when something inside them said, I can't wait anymore. Readiness isn't a requirement, it's a result of doing. Think about Luis Moreno, a man who worked full-time as a delivery driver, navigating traffic and fatigue day after day. But he had a dream to open a small bakery. He wasn't trained as a chef, didn't have investors, and had no storefront. All he had was passion, an old family recipe for cinnamon rolls, and a kitchen that smelled like dreams waiting to happen. So instead of waiting for funding or perfect timing, Louis began baking at night after work. He packaged his treats and sold them to friends, co-workers, and neighbors. Some nights he'd bake until 2 a.m., only to get up at 6 and deliver packages. It wasn't glamorous, and it wasn't easy, but it was movement. Within a year, word of mouth grew. People started placing orders in advance. He saved every dollar he could, reinvested in better tools, and after 2 years, he opened the doors to his very own bakery. Not a chain, not a franchise, just a dream that finally had an address. All because he didn't wait for everything to be perfect. He started before he was ready. This is how real change begins, with imperfect action, with messy starts, with a little bit of faith and a whole lot of follow-through. You don't need the full picture to take the first step. You just need the willingness to begin. You can figure out the rest along the way. Most people are waiting for confidence, but confidence doesn't come before the step. It comes after. It's built in the doing. You learn by doing, you grow by moving, and you gain clarity by trying, adjusting, and continuing. When you wait for ideal circumstances, you unknowingly give your dream an expiration date. You start to feel discouraged. You start telling yourself stories like, maybe this isn't for me, or maybe I'm not ready. But what if you flipped the script? What if you said, I'll get ready as I go? That shift in mindset changes everything. Suddenly action becomes your teacher, and life rewards movement. Every attempt, every stumble, every small win builds a foundation. Now here's the reality: starting before you're ready doesn't mean being reckless. It means being resourceful. It means using what you have where you are, with what you know. It means being willing to fail, to get back up, and to improve along the way. Luis didn't start with a bakery. He started with belief, and belief in motion is the most powerful force you'll ever experience. So if you've been waiting for the right moment, let me give it to you. It's right now. This is your moment, not tomorrow. Not when you have more money, more experience, or more approval from others. Your dreams are not sitting in the future. They're buried in today's decisions. And the longer you wait, the further they drift. But the moment you act, even in a small way, you call them back to life. The world doesn't need another person waiting for perfect. It needs people who are willing to begin messy, move forward humbly, and keep going faithfully. Remember, you don't have to be great to start, but you do have to start to become great. So start before you're ready. Start while your voice shakes. Start while your hands tremble. Start now, and let your courage catch up. You've got everything you need inside you to begin, not someday, today. Number 3, your journey is yours alone. In a world that constantly shows us highlight reels, it's easy to feel like we're behind. You look around and see people achieving things you haven't even started. Someone else is already running a successful business. Another person is married with a beautiful family. Someone else is living in a different country, traveling the world, or getting the recognition you've been dreaming about. And in those moments, your own path can feel small, slow, or even meaningless. But let me remind you of a simple truth. Your journey is yours alone. You weren't made to walk someone else's path. You weren't born to follow someone else's timeline. You're not here to copy anyone. You're here to create something original. Your life isn't a race, it's a masterpiece in progress. And every step you take, even if it seems small or delayed compared to others, is perfectly timed for you. Comparison is one of the most dangerous habits we fall into. It silently eats away at our confidence. It makes us question our decisions. It tricks us into thinking we're not doing enough, not growing fast enough, not achieving anything worthwhile. But here's the truth. When you measure your life against someone else's, you rob yourself of the joy and clarity that only comes from staying focused on your own vision. Let me introduce you to Deborah Lynn. Deborah was a retired school librarian. At the age of 52, after decades of helping children fall in love with books, she felt something stirring inside her, a quiet nudge that said, "There's still more for you." While most of her peers were winding down and settling into retirement, Deborah decided to explore something completely new. She always had an interest in technology, so she signed up for an online coding course. It wasn't easy. It was intimidating. She was surrounded virtually by students half her age. But Deborah didn't compare. She stayed in her lane. She reminded herself that her journey had just taken a different route. Within 2 years, Deborah created a wellness app designed specifically for senior citizens. It helped older adults stay on top of their health, manage medications, and connect with others. The app caught the attention of a health nonprofit, and today Deborah travels part-time teaching digital literacy to seniors across the country. Her journey didn't look like anyone else's. It didn't follow the traditional script, but it led to something meaningful because she had the courage to walk her path without apology. You don't have to do things early. You don't have to do them fast. You just have to do them your way. Some people bloom early, some bloom late. But what matters is that you bloom. What matters is that you're growing in the right direction. Not rushing to keep up, but moving in alignment with what's right for you. It's easy to look at someone else's chapter 20 and feel ashamed of your chapter 2. But don't forget, they had to start too. They had to go through fear, doubt, mistakes, and delays. You're not behind. You're just in a different stage. And that stage is still valuable. Stay focused on your goals. Stay connected to your reasons. Your dreams don't need approval from others. Your timing doesn't need validation. You're allowed to go slow. You're allowed to take breaks. You're allowed to grow quietly. You don't need to be seen by the world to be successful. What matters most is being true to yourself. So if you find yourself constantly comparing, stop and bring your focus back to your own life. Ask yourself, what's the next step for me? Not for someone else. Not what the internet says, not what your friends or family expect. What's true to your values, your vision, and your purpose? Because when you walk your own path with clarity and confidence, life starts to feel lighter. You stop rushing, you stop apologizing, and you start building a life that actually belongs to you. Remember, your journey is not late. It's not broken. It's not off course. It's unfolding exactly as it should, one step at a time. So take pride in your pace, honor your process, and never ever forget your journey is yours alone. Number 4, visualize, then move. Every great achievement starts in the mind. Long before you ever take a step toward your dream, you must first see it. Not just wish for it, but truly visualize it. Picture it, feel it, taste the success, smell the victory, hear the sound of your own footsteps on the path that leads you there. Why is this so powerful? Because the mind doesn't know the difference between imagination and reality. It only responds to focus and repetition, what you vividly imagine. Especially when combined with consistent action, becomes the foundation of your future. Before any seed breaks the soil, it first stretches beneath the surface, hidden from the world. And the same is true with your dreams. They begin in the unseen space of your thoughts, your beliefs, and your internal vision. If you want your dreams to take root and grow, you have to feed them daily. Not with doubt, but with intention. You must speak life over them. You must see yourself in the life you want. And most importantly, you must start walking toward it. Let me tell you about Marcus Hill. Marcus was a struggling high school student, barely passing his classes, constantly distracted, and often labeled unfocused by his teachers. His self-esteem took hit after hit, until one day something changed. He heard a motivational speaker at his school who said, "You don't become what you want, you become what you see." That line stuck with Marcus. That night, instead of doing what he normally did, scrolling through his phone and zoning out, he took a few minutes and wrote down a vision for his life. He saw himself becoming a top student. He imagined giving a speech at graduation. He envisioned himself walking across the stage with confidence while his family cheered him on. He had never done anything like that before, but something clicked. From that night forward, Marcus created a new routine. Every morning before school, he'd sit quietly for 5 minutes and visualize the version of himself he wanted to become. Then he'd act like him. He'd sit in the front row. He started asking questions. He studied longer. He stayed after class. Slowly but surely, the gap between his vision and his reality began to close. By the end of his senior year, Marcus had not only turned his grades around, he became valedictorian and gave the very speech he once saw in his mind. What made the difference? He saw it first. He believed it before anyone else did. He trained his mind to see something better. And then he followed that vision with action. That's the secret. Visualization alone isn't magic, but when it's paired with movement, it becomes fuel. It creates focus, and focus drives progress. You see, we all carry images in our minds, some empowering, some limiting. If you constantly imagine yourself stuck, tired, defeated, or incapable, your mind will create behavior to match that picture. But if you start seeing yourself as capable, focused, disciplined, and full of purpose, your mind will align with that image. You'll begin to walk differently, speak differently, and think differently. That's how internal vision begins to rewrite your external results. Athletes do this all the time. Before they compete, they close their eyes and visualize the race, the movement, the performance. They walk through it mentally until it feels familiar. So when they step into the real moment, they're not surprised. They've already been there. You can do the same in your life. Visualize the conversation, the job interview, the business idea, the breakthrough. Let your imagination take you where your body hasn't gone yet, and then follow that vision with steps. But here's the key. You can't just see it once and expect results. You must return to the vision daily. Like watering a seed, your dream needs attention. Repetition is what imprints the idea deep enough for your actions to catch up. Take 5 minutes in the morning and 5 minutes at night. Close your eyes. Picture your future. Picture the person you are becoming. Let the emotion of that reality pull you forward. Now I want to be clear. Visualization isn't about escaping reality. It's about creating direction. It helps you move with clarity, not confusion. When you know what you want and you see it clearly, decision-making becomes easier. Distractions become less appealing. You stop asking, "What should I do?" and start doing what aligns with your vision. So today, I invite you to begin a new habit. Start seeing yourself beyond your current situation. Don't just wish for better, see better. Don't just hope for more, picture more. See the version of yourself who's already done the work, who's already crossed the finish line, who's already living the life you dream about. Because once you can see it and you start moving toward it, it becomes possible. And once it's possible, it's only a matter of time. Visualize, then move. That's the blueprint. Number 5, consistency wins over time. Motivation is a spark. It's exciting, it's powerful, but it doesn't last. It comes in waves. One moment, you're ready to conquer the world, and the next, you're dragging your feet just to get out of bed. That's why dreams built on motivation alone don't survive. Because what truly brings dreams to life is consistency. Consistency is quiet. It doesn't cheer. It doesn't impress anyone at first. It's not flashy or loud, but it's the force behind every transformation, every success story, every life that has changed direction for the better. While others are waiting for the right mood or the next burst of inspiration, consistent people are doing the work, even when it's hard, even when it's boring, even when no one is watching. Let me tell you about Anika Rao. Anika didn't come from a musical family. She wasn't born with extraordinary talent, but she loved music. Specifically, she wanted to learn to play the guitar. She tried taking a few lessons in high school, but life got busy. Then came college, then a job, and soon her guitar was collecting dust in the corner. One day, overwhelmed by stress and looking for an outlet, she picked it up again. But this time, she made a promise to herself. Just 20 minutes a day, no more, no less. She set a timer, played through mistakes, watched tutorials, and didn't worry about perfection. She simply stayed consistent. Months passed. Her fingers became faster, her ear more trained. One day she posted a short video of herself playing a song she had struggled with for weeks. The video didn't go viral, but it connected. People appreciated the rawness. She posted again and again. Eventually, her consistent practice turned into consistent content. She built a following. She was invited to collaborate with other musicians, and one morning she woke up to an email from a small indie label offering her a recording opportunity. Not because she was the best guitarist out there, but because she was visible. She showed up. She kept playing when others quit. That's the power of consistency. It may not look magical in the moment, but over time, it creates results that people can't ignore. You see, it's not what you do once that changes your life. It's what you do daily. Small actions, repeated consistently, stack up. One day doesn't make you great, but 100 days of effort, that's the foundation of greatness. This applies to everything. Your health, your finances, your career, your relationships. If you want a meaningful change, don't wait for inspiration. Build a system, create a routine, set a schedule that works for you, and stick to it. Some days you'll feel motivated, other days you won't. But if you've committed to consistency, you'll keep going anyway. And that's what separates dreamers from achievers. People often underestimate the power of routine because it feels too ordinary. But ordinary, when repeated over time, becomes extraordinary. Drinking more water every day, writing a paragraph a night, reading 10 pages each morning, practicing your pitch, showing up for your business. All of these seem small, but they build something big. Discipline. And discipline is the bridge between where you are and where you want to be. Here's the beauty of consistency. It creates momentum. At first, it might feel like a grind. You won't see results right away, but keep going. After a while, your actions become habits. And once something becomes a habit, it takes less energy to maintain. You stop thinking about whether or not to do it. It just becomes who you are. You're not always going to be in the mood to chase your dream. That's okay. You don't need to be in the mood. You need to be committed. And commitment means showing up even when it's inconvenient, even when no one claps, even when it feels like nothing is changing. Because something is changing, you're becoming the kind of person who follows through, who doesn't quit at the first obstacle, who does what they said they would do. So ask yourself, what could change in your life if you committed to just 20 minutes a day? What could you build in 6 months if you stopped starting and stopping and just kept showing up? You don't need to overhaul your entire life overnight. You just need to start showing up every single day. The truth is, success isn't about speed. It's about direction. And direction, powered by consistency, always leads somewhere meaningful. So don't underestimate the quiet power of doing something small, but doing it every day. That's how real progress happens. Consistency wins over time. Always. Number 6. Celebrate small steps. In the pursuit of big dreams, we often overlook the small wins, the daily victories, the quiet progress, the little steps that don't make headlines, but move us forward just the same. Somewhere along the way, we've been conditioned to believe that success only counts when it's loud, dramatic, and instantly visible. But that's not how growth truly works. Success is not just in the destination. It's in the process. It's in showing up one more day. It's in doing the work when no one's watching. It's in taking small steps and having the courage to celebrate them, even when they seem insignificant. The truth is, small steps are not small at all. They are the building blocks of every meaningful journey. They're the bricks that form the foundation of your dream. Ignore them, and you risk losing motivation. Embrace them, and you start building momentum. Progress becomes sustainable when we learn to acknowledge and appreciate it as it happens, not just when it finally pays off. Let me share a story with you. Carla Mendez is a single mom of 2 who always dreamed of writing a novel. She had stories swirling in her head for years, but never felt like she had the time. Between parenting, working long hours, and handling life's daily demands, writing seemed impossible. But one night, after putting her kids to bed, she decided to write just 1 page. Not a chapter, not a masterpiece, just a page. It took her 15 minutes. When she was done, she felt something she hadn't felt in a long time. Pride, not because it was perfect, but because she did it. The next night, she did the same thing. Then again the next. Some nights, it was 2 pages. Some nights, just a paragraph. But she kept going. She even made a chart on her wall with check marks for every writing day, a visual celebration of her small victories. 18 months later, she held a printed manuscript in her hands. She self-published her novel, and it went on to touch readers she never imagined she could reach. All because she respected the small steps and treated them like milestones. Carla didn't wait for a book deal to feel like a writer. She felt like a writer the day she showed up and wrote her first page. That's the mindset shift we all need. Don't wait to feel proud. Don't wait to feel accomplished. Let every small step remind you, I'm on my way. You see, when you focus only on the end goal, the road can feel endless. You start to feel like you're not doing enough. But when you break the journey into smaller pieces and celebrate each one, everything changes. You stay motivated. You stay encouraged. And most importantly, you build trust with yourself. Think of it like climbing a mountain. If you stare only at the peak, you might get discouraged by how far it still looks. But if you stop along the way, take in the view, notice how high you've already climbed, and celebrate that progress, you're far more likely to keep going. Small steps might not seem like much in the moment, but they add up. 1 becomes 10. 10 becomes 100. And one day you look back and realize you've come farther than you thought possible. Celebrating small steps doesn't mean you're settling. It means you're strengthening your spirit. You're building momentum and reinforcing belief. And belief, once reinforced, creates unstoppable confidence. Here's a simple practice. At the end of each day, ask yourself, what did I do today that moved me closer to my dream? Maybe it was reaching out to someone. Maybe it was learning something new. Maybe it was simply not giving up. Whatever it is, write it down. Acknowledge it. Celebrate it. These moments are more powerful than they appear, because it's easy to quit when you don't see results. It's easy to walk away when progress feels slow. But when you create a habit of celebrating the little wins, you start to see how far you're actually moving. And that realization, that's what keeps you going. So don't underestimate your efforts just because they're not big and loud. Don't wait for applause to feel accomplished. Clap for yourself when you show up. Smile when you make progress, no matter how small. Because those little steps, they are the path. They are the proof that you're in motion. And in the end, it's not the one-time leap that builds a dream. It's the steady, faithful, celebrated steps that do. Celebrate small steps. They are the seeds of your future success. Number 7, embrace the unknown. There's a point on every journey where the road ahead becomes blurry, where the path disappears into uncertainty, and everything in you wants to turn around and go back to what's familiar. This is the moment where most people stop. Not because they're not capable, but because the unknown feels too uncomfortable, too unpredictable, too risky. But let me tell you, if you're serious about your dreams, you must learn to embrace the unknown, because that's where the real growth happens. We're taught to avoid the unfamiliar, to stick with what we know, to play it safe. But safe doesn't lead to transformation. Familiar doesn't stretch you. Comfort zones are designed to keep you exactly where you are and your dreams. They don't live there. They live on the other side of uncertainty. You don't need to have every answer to begin. You don't need to see the whole staircase to take the first step. What you need is the courage to move forward without knowing exactly what's next. Because life rarely gives you a detailed roadmap. More often it hands you a direction and asks, are you willing to trust yourself enough to walk it? Let me introduce you to Darnell Bishop. Darnell was living what many would consider a successful life. A six-figure job, a downtown apartment, and the kind of security that looks impressive on the outside. But inside, he felt restless, unfulfilled. He had always wanted to travel, to make a difference in the world, but the fear of leaving his stable life kept him frozen. Until one night, after a long day at work, he looked in the mirror and asked himself, what am I doing this for? That single question changed everything. He made the decision to leave his job and spend a year volunteering with an education program overseas. No guarantees, no fallback plan, just a calling he couldn't ignore. The first few months were tough. New culture, new language, new challenges every day. But something else happened too. Darnell came alive. He discovered skills he didn't know he had. He made connections that would later shape his career. And most importantly, he found a new purpose. Today, Darnell runs a nonprofit organization that provides learning tools and mentorship programs for underprivileged youth around the world. His life looks completely different now. Not because he had it all figured out, but because he was willing to walk into the unknown and figure it out along the way. That's the power of stepping into unfamiliar territory. It teaches you who you are. It reveals strength, creativity, and resilience that only show up when you're stretched. You learn to adapt. You learn to trust. And eventually you learn that the unknown isn't a threat. It's a gateway. You see, fear of the unknown is natural. Everyone feels it, but it doesn't have to control you. Fear should be a signal, not a stop sign. It's the sign that something meaningful might be on the other side. Think about it. Every major breakthrough in history came from someone stepping into uncertainty. Every invention, every revolution, every personal success story was born in a moment where someone said, I don't know what's ahead, but I'm going anyway. The truth is, the unknown is where possibility lives. When you only operate within what you know, you repeat the same patterns, you stay in the same cycles. But when you step out, you allow new doors to open, new ideas to form, new relationships to blossom. You evolve. So how do you get more comfortable with the unknown? You start by changing your perspective. Instead of seeing uncertainty as something to fear, see it as a space for discovery. Instead of asking, What if I fail? Ask, what if I grow? What if the very thing you've been avoiding is the key to the next level of your life? You also develop a mindset of flexibility. Understand that not everything will go as planned, and that's okay. Your path might twist and turn. You might need to pivot, but that doesn't mean you're lost. It means you're adjusting. You're learning. You're building a more resilient version of yourself. And finally, surround yourself with reminders that the unknown is where life expands. Read stories. Talk to people who've taken bold leaps. Let their courage inspire yours, and take action, even when you're unsure. Especially when you're unsure, because clarity often comes after the step, not before it. So if you're standing at the edge of something new, wondering whether to stay or move forward, this is your sign. Don't wait until you feel fully ready. Don't wait for a guarantee. Embrace the mystery. Embrace the growth. Embrace the transformation that only comes when you do what others won't. Because the unknown isn't the end of the road. It's the beginning of something extraordinary. Number 8. Build resilience and bounce back. No matter how strong your dream is, how detailed your plan may be, or how committed you feel right now, there will be moments when things don't go your way. Moments when you stumble, when progress slows, when people doubt you, and you might even doubt yourself. These moments are not the end of your story. They're simply tests, and the skill that will carry you through them is resilience. Resilience is your ability to bounce back, to bend without breaking, to rise again after falling. It's not about avoiding failure, it's about refusing to be defined by it. You see, most people think that success means everything works out the first time, that the path should be smooth if it's meant for you. But the truth is, success is often paved with setbacks, delays, missteps, rejections. And the ones who reach their goals aren't the lucky ones. They're the ones who kept going when things got tough. Let me tell you the story of Tony Vargas. Tony was a young athlete with one dream: making his high school soccer team. He trained all summer, practiced every day, even cut out junk food and stayed disciplined while his friends relaxed. Tryouts came and he gave it his all. But when the list was posted, his name wasn't on it. Cut from the team. Just like that, he was crushed, embarrassed, angry. For a few days, he didn't want to do anything. But then something inside him clicked. Instead of giving up, Tony decided to get better. Not to prove anyone wrong, but to prove himself right. He studied his weaknesses. He sagingly watched game footage, asked for feedback. He kept training, even when it was uncomfortable, even when no one else was watching. The next year, he returned stronger, faster, sharper, and made the team. Not only that, he became captain in his senior year. What changed? Not his talent, his resilience. He refused to let failure be final, and that mindset made all the difference. You will face rejection on the way to your dreams. You will hear no more than once. You will make mistakes, lose motivation, and feel like giving up. That's normal. What matters is how you respond. Will you sit in that setback and let it define you, or will you use it as fuel to grow? Resilience doesn't mean you don't feel disappointment. It means you don't let disappointment stop you. It means allowing yourself to be human, feeling the frustration, acknowledging the pain, but choosing to keep moving anyway. And each time you rise again, you become stronger, more confident, more grounded in your purpose. Some of the greatest success stories began with rejection. Authors whose manuscripts were denied dozens of times. Entrepreneurs who lost everything before building something bigger. Artists who were told they didn't have what it takes. What set them apart wasn't luck. It was resilience. Resilience also helps you build emotional endurance. When things go wrong, your emotions can take over. Frustration, fear, shame. But when you practice resilience, you learn to process those feelings without being controlled by them. You create space between what happens and how you react. That space is powerful. It's where growth lives. You don't have to bounce back perfectly. You don't have to get it right every time. You just have to decide that you're not quitting, that this dream means too much, that you've come too far to stop now. That mindset alone can shift everything. Another key to resilience is remembering why you started. When you reconnect with your why, the reason you began this journey in the first place, you reignite your fire. Remind yourself of what's at stake, what your dream means to you, who you're doing it for. That clarity gives you strength when your energy is low. You also build resilience by celebrating progress. not just perfection. Look back at how far you've come, every challenge you've already overcome, every time you push through doubt. That's proof of your strength. That's evidence that you can handle what's ahead. And remember, resilience is like a muscle. The more you use it, the stronger it gets. Each time you get back up, you're training yourself to become unstoppable. You're teaching your mind that failure is not fatal, that discomfort is not the enemy, and that growth comes to those who endure. So if you're in a hard moment right now, don't panic, don't quit. Take a breath, reflect, adjust, and rise. You've got more strength in you than you realize. And this setback, it's not the end of your story. It's just a chapter, maybe even the one that makes the ending unforgettable. Resilience is what transforms setbacks into setups. It's what turns obstacles into stepping stones. So stand back up, brush it off, and keep going. Your dream is still worth it, and so are you. Number 9, the discipline that shapes destiny. If there's one quality that separates those who achieve their dreams from those who only talk about them, it's not talent, luck, or connections. It's discipline. The quiet, often uncomfortable choice to do what needs to be done, especially when you don't feel like doing it. Discipline is the bridge between your goals and your results. It's not always fun. It's rarely glamorous, but it's always necessary. People often start with passion. Passion gets you excited. Passion makes you dream big and talk confidently. But passion without discipline is a spark that burns out quickly. It lights the match, but only discipline keeps the fire going. You won't always feel motivated. You won't always feel ready. That's where discipline steps in. It becomes the inner voice that says, do it anyway. Discipline is not about being perfect. It's about being consistent. It's waking up early when you'd rather sleep in. It's showing up for your goals when no one else is watching. It's writing when the ideas aren't flowing, training when your muscles ache, or studying when your mind is tired. It's doing the work, day after day, because you've decided that your dream is worth it. Let me tell you about Maya Trent. A few years ago, Maya dropped out of college. She felt lost, overwhelmed, and embarrassed. She wasn't sure what her next step would be, but deep down, she knew she had more in her. Instead of spiraling further, she made a decision. Not a grand, life-changing leap, but a small, steady choice to create structure. She bought a wall calendar and mapped out a daily routine, waking up at 6:30, exercising for 30 minutes, studying online for 2 hours, reading one book per week. Every day was laid out with purpose. At first it was hard. No one was pushing her. No teachers, no bosses, no deadlines, just her own commitment. But she stuck with it. She treated each day like a contract with herself. She missed a day here and there, but she always got back on track. After a few months, she started learning digital marketing. Then she offered free help to small businesses in her area. Eventually, she built a client base. Today, Maya runs her own branding agency. She works with startups across the country, speaks at entrepreneurship events, and mentors other young people who've lost their way. Her success didn't come from a miracle. It came from discipline, a decision to build her life, one task at a time. She didn't need to be rescued. She needed to become responsible. And she did that by mastering the little things, her time, her habits, her mindset. Discipline gives you structure, and structure gives you freedom. That might sound strange, but it's true. When you discipline yourself, you create space to move with intention. You know where your energy is going. You're not reacting to life, you're creating it. Instead of being pulled in 100 directions, you stay anchored to what matters most. The real secret to discipline, it's not about willpower, it's about systems. When you build routines that support your goals, you make it easier to stay on track. You remove the decision-making from the equation. You don't wake up wondering if you'll work on your dream today. You just do it, because it's part of who you are now. Discipline also builds confidence. Every time you follow through on a commitment, even a small one, you strengthen your belief in yourself. You prove to your own mind, I can trust me. And that trust is powerful. It creates a kind of quiet pride, a sense of internal stability that doesn't waver when things get tough. Of course, discipline will test you. There will be days when your motivation disappears, days when everything feels like a struggle. But that's when discipline shines the brightest, when it carries you through the valleys and keeps you grounded in your purpose. It reminds you that your future isn't built by how you feel. It's built by what you do. And here's the good news. Discipline is a skill, not a trait. You're not born with it. You build it. One choice at a time. Start small. Set a wake-up time and stick to it. Create a workspace and protect it. Choose a daily habit and guard it like gold. As these habits stack, they form a lifestyle. And that lifestyle becomes the foundation of your dream. So ask yourself today, what small act of discipline can I commit to? What routine can I put in place to support the life I want to live? Don't wait until you feel like it. Don't wait for the perfect mood. Show up because your future is worth it. Discipline is the quiet force that shapes your destiny. One consistent step at a time. Number 10, surround yourself with energy and positivity. No matter how strong your dream is or how disciplined your habits are, one thing will always influence your journey. Your environment. The people you spend time with. The voices you listen to. The energy you allow into your space. These things matter more than most people realize. Because your environment can either fuel your vision or drain it. It can pull you forward or quietly pull you under. Dreams are fragile in their early stages. They need support, encouragement, belief. And if you're constantly surrounded by negativity, by people who doubt, criticize, complain, or settle, you start to absorb that energy. Slowly, it starts to shape your mindset. You begin to question yourself. You second-guess your direction. And before long, your fire starts to dim. Not because you didn't care, but because you didn't protect your space. On the other hand, when you surround yourself with positivity, everything begins to shift. You're uplifted. You're challenged to grow. You hear ideas instead of excuses. You see possibility instead of problems. And most importantly, you start believing bigger, not because life suddenly got easier, but because your mindset got stronger. Let me introduce you to Eleanor Brooks. Eleanor was a high school English teacher who loved her students, but felt stuck in her routine. She had dreams of starting her own tutoring business, but after long school days and family responsibilities, her energy was low and her confidence even lower. What changed wasn't a sudden opportunity. It was her environment. Eleanor formed a small group with 3 friends who also had goals they were struggling to pursue. They agreed to meet once a week for coffee, not just to chat, but to check in on their progress, share ideas, and encourage each other. They called it their momentum circle. At first, the progress was slow, but each week that energy built. Each person brought new enthusiasm, new strategies, and new breakthroughs. Within 6 months, Eleanor launched her first online course. Within a year, she left her full-time job and was running a successful tutoring platform from home. She credits her success not only to hard work, but to the energy her circle gave her every week. That support helped her believe when she doubted. It held her accountable when she felt tired. It reminded her that she wasn't in it alone. That's the power of positive people. They don't just cheer you on, they sharpen you. They remind you of who you are and where you're going. And sometimes just having one person believe in you is enough to help you believe in yourself again. But surrounding yourself with the right energy goes beyond just people. It's also about your habits, your content, your thoughts. What are you feeding your mind every day? Are you scrolling through negativity or reading things that inspire you? Are you listening to voices that build you up or ones that tell you to play it safe? Create an environment that reflects your future, not your past. Design your space to support your growth. Hang up your goals. Put affirmations where you can see them. Keep your workspace clean and clear. Fill your phone with podcasts, audiobooks, and videos that keep your spirit strong. Every small decision adds up, and over time, it shapes the atmosphere that your dream lives in. It's also important to protect your energy. You can't give your best if you're constantly drained by toxic conversations or unending drama. Sometimes, the most loving thing you can do is create distance from people who pull you backward. That doesn't make you cold. It makes you committed. Not everyone can walk with you to the next level, and that's okay. Your dream deserves a space to grow. Finally, be the energy you want to attract. Be the encourager. Be the one who listens, who supports, who speaks life into others. When you bring that kind of energy into the world, you not only change your life, you influence everyone around you. You become the spark that lights someone else's fire. So take inventory. Who's in your circle? What's in your atmosphere? What energy are you letting in every day? And more importantly, is it helping you grow or holding you back? Surround yourself with energy and positivity. Because when your environment is right, your dreams have room to breathe, to expand, and to come alive. So here we are. After all the words, all the lessons, all the stories, there's one truth that echoes through them all. You are just one step away. One step away from clarity, one step away from momentum, one step away from becoming the person you were always meant to be. It doesn't take a miracle. It doesn't require perfection. What it takes is a decision, a choice to stop waiting, stop doubting, and start moving forward. Your dreams are not as far as they seem. They're not locked behind talent you don't have or resources you're missing. They're simply waiting for you to take ownership of your future. You've learned now that success is not sudden. It's not reserved for the few. It's built in quiet moments, in small, repeated steps, in showing up on the days when it's hard, and in celebrating the progress others may not even see. You've learned that failure isn't final, that setbacks are setups, that discomfort is where growth begins, and that every person who's done something great once stood right where you are, facing fear, doubt, and uncertainty. But here's the difference. They stepped anyway, and now it's your turn. Not next year, not next month, today, right now, because your dream deserves that. You deserve that. So take the step, start the journey, tune out the noise, build the discipline, find the people who lift you higher, and walk with your head up and your heart on fire. Because this life you want to build, it's possible, and it all begins. Not with everything, but with one bold, brave, simple step. The question is no longer can you, it's will you. Your dream is waiting. Take the step.